Squad, your source for esports and gaming. We have a jam-packed show, so let me give you a rundown on everything that you should expect. Marissa is going to give you the goods on all the releases coming out this week in the loadout, and then Lisa and Marissa are going to go head-to-head in Unmuted, giving us their takes on the top stories, and later we're going to get cozy with our friends Ajay Fry and Ron Lee when they chat OWL in Esports in 30. But first, let me give you the news. The developer behind Pokemon Go unveiled what their newest augmented reality game will be. And let me tell you, it's magical. No, seriously, it's literally magical. Niantic pulled the curtain off of Harry Potter's Wizards Unite this week, and while it has some similarities to Pokemon Go, it's got plenty to set it apart. The story for the game is as follows. You're a wizard or witch in the Harry Potter world who is an agent of the Statue of Secrecy Task Force. Your job is to go around the world and capture magical items and creatures called foundables before muggles see them. What makes Wizards Unite different is the multiplayer. Unlike Pokemon Go, all multiplayer in Wizards Unite will be cooperative. Players can tackle fortresses, which are real-time multiplayer battles that test your might against Dementors and other Harry Potter villains. And depending on which class you choose when you create your character, you'll earn bonuses in battle as well. Wizards Unite definitely doesn't feel like a knockoff of Pokemon Go. You can sign up for a beta on Android now, though there's no word on whether iOS users will be able to gain access. Not all is well at Valve. The developer behind Dota and Artifact has laid off 13 employees and several contractors, including Artifact and Magic the Gathering creator Richard Garfield. Garfield confirmed the news in an email to Artifact fan site Artibuff, saying that he wasn't surprised by the decision since the game had a rocky launch. Artifact launched in November, and while it attracted a lot of players in its debut, it is now down to roughly 500 players a week. The game itself hasn't been updated since January 28th, and the official Artifact Twitter hasn't tweeted anything since December. Valve hasn't said anything about the future of Artifact, but with the departure of Garfield, its future isn't looking particularly bright. Netflix is doubling down on video game adaptations with a brand new series. The streaming giant announced on Monday that it will be developing a new anime series based on Capcom's Dragon's Dogma. The action RPG was first released in 2012 and was later ported to current generation consoles under the name Dragon's Dogma: Dark Arisen. The game follows the player character hunting down a dragon that took their heart, defeating plenty of monsters along the way. The animation adaptation will be developed by Sublimation with no release date set. Netflix has previously adapted Konami's Castlevania as an animated series, which is widely regarded as one of the best video game adaptations to date. Here's hoping that Dragon's Dogma receives a similar treatment. Niantic's Harry Potter game finally revealed. It's been a while since there were leaks about this game, people were rumoring it, and now we know exactly what it is. And you may want to hate on it, but don't, okay? Just because it reminds you of Pokemon Go, and it's the same people that put it out, we both know that you, me, and your neighbor are gonna be outside waving our phones around saying Wingardium Leviosa and just trying to be wizards ourselves. It ain't right, but we're gonna be doing it. I think the key though for Niantic is to make sure that they're having updates from the start regularly, because I could not jump back on the Pokemon Go train after so long of nothing happening. So Niantic, do it right. That's just my take. I want to know what you think. Let me know on all of our socials at Squad State, where you could sound off there. Now, in a bit, we're gonna have Marissa and Lisa face off in Unmuted. But first, here's the loadout with all the games releasing this week.
We used to be ordinary people with ordinary lives. trained in secret.
The biggest game coming out this week is Ubisoft's flagship title for the first half of the year. The Division 2 is the sequel to the 2015 loot shooter, and it's trading the sights and sounds of New York for a trip to America's capital, Washington, D.C. Set 7 months after the events of the first game, The Division 2 follows a similar formula to the original. The United States is in chaos after a viral outbreak, and sleeper agents who are placed around the country in case of disaster are activated to restore order. That means gathering a group of friends or strangers, going on expeditions throughout the capital, and defeating the enemies that stand in your way. The Division 2 is a third-person shooter, and like its prequel, you'll be gathering a ton of loot to better equip yourself in the dangerous streets. Unlike its predecessor, The Division 2 will feature 8-player raids, which will serve as endgame content along with PvP. The original Division was a solid shooter, though it did have its fair share of problems. That said, there's hope that The Division 2 learns from its mistakes, because if it does, it's going to be one hell of a good time. One Piece fans, rejoice! You finally get the open-world action game you've been waiting for this week with One Piece World Seeker. Set in an original location called Jail Island, players control the captain of the Straw Hat Pirates, Luffy, as he explores the world to solve the island's mystery. That means completing missions for his crew, the island's villagers, and a host of popular characters pulled from every corner of the One Piece universe. As an open-world game, you can freely move around the island at your own pace, finding treasure and fighting sailors and pirates alike. In battle, Luffy has 2 different fighting styles he can switch between, and he has a full skill tree where he can unlock new abilities to use in and out of combat. Fair warning, if you're not familiar with One Piece, a lot of characters and events in the game will go over your head. But if you are, there's plenty of fan service here for you to enjoy. Remakes are becoming more and more common in video games, but a remake for a game that came out less than 2 years ago? That's definitely unique, and that's exactly what's happening with Caligula Effect Overdose, an RPG hitting PC, PS4, and Switch this week. Overdose is a turn-based role-playing game that most unchanging of genres, and is set in a virtual reality world where everyone lives out their high school lives over and over again forever. That's a recurring nightmare I have. So I totally understand why the main characters want to escape this world. Overdose is similar to the Persona series, as you can hang out with people to improve your relationship with them, and in some cases, unlocking them as party members. With your party at your back, you'll explore dungeons, fight monsters, and do all those things RPGs ask you to do. So what changed from the original game? The graphics have been completely redone from the ground up, there's a new protagonist, new supporting characters, and new endings. So if you're trying to get your Persona fix in, the Caligula Effect Overdose drops on March 12th. Welcome to Unmuted. We got esports, we got gaming, we got opinions, and apparently today on the show, we got the ladies. I'm Marissa Roberto.
And I'm Lisa Doan, filling in for Brody because apparently he can't handle the heat and he asked for a day off. But it's okay, because I'm here and we're gonna have fun.
That's right, Mama's here. Listen, I get that though, because Brody, I mean, we got a little heated. We didn't end up using the mute button as I had hoped. I watched the show back later, I'm like, damn it, I should have muted him like 3 times. It's okay. You have the option of muting me if you feel like I'm, you know, getting out of line, but you just keep your hand off, Lisa Doan.
Okay, all right.
Off. Let's get to our first story because it features a bunch of cheaters getting banned in Apex Legends. How many cheaters, you ask? Try over 350,000. Apex developer Respawn Entertainment has committed to improving anti-cheat measures to catch more cheaters in the future. So how is there so many cheaters in this game that just came out like a month ago? Have you encountered cheaters at all in this game? Do you think this is a good move?
Marissa, I've played like 4 games of this game.
And you've lost every single one, handedly.
So I'm more likely to be the cheater. Lisa, what? I didn't do it. That you guys found me. I didn't do it. Listen, the game is really popular. There's like millions of players now, right? So isn't it just makes sense that there's going to be a lot of cheaters that want to make friends and be good at this game.
No, cheaters don't make friends.
Yes, they do.
No, cheaters never prosper. Don't you know that?
Oh,
Cheaters never prosper. Listen, this is what's going to happen to you. You're going to jump into a game. You're thinking you're amazing. You're godly because you're running it. I want to say running a train, but that's inappropriate. I can't say things like that. I apologize. They just want to run a show in this game, and it's unfortunate because this is what's going to happen to them. You're going to play. You're going to think you're amazing, and then guess what? Respawn's going to come in and take it all away from you. So you got to start from the bottom again. I'm sorry.
They don't
this is
care.
what happens when you cheat.
They don't care that they're cheating. Listen, they're not. These aren't pros that we're talking about here. These are just casual gamers. They want to get good. They want the good stuff.
No, but you're not going to get good if you're a cheater. You're not going to get good if you're cheating. Yeah. Okay. But
winning is the most important thing, Marissa. Okay, that's just the bottom line here. Obviously, I'm not condoning cheating, but why are we surprised? We're not. I'm not surprised. You shouldn't be surprised.
I am. I'm surprised there are that many cheaters. That's crazy to me. Like cheating, I mean, in a freemium game, to me would be just like paying for something in-game that the developer kind of wants you to pay for anyway, not actually going into your way to figure out cheats. Like I cheated in Sims when I played it back in the day, and I just to get more money so I could have a nice house.
Hold on, we didn't. We're gonna get into that later. We didn't specify like what kind of cheats are they actually doing. Like, do they just want to level up fast? Like maybe that's what it is, and I get that. You know, you want to get items, whatever. That's what they're doing. But if they're cheating literally to just win, like hacks for like shooting games and all that stuff, I feel like that's not good. That's not the kind of good cheat. Not
right,
like
no, of course, like the auto-targeting. I mean, we saw it obviously in CSGO in the pro scene over this past year. Like there are some programs that you can make and some attachments that you can add to your current system.
Marissa, you know a lot about this.
Well, listen, we cover esports, okay? Sometimes people cheat and sometimes they don't win and sometimes they get caught and get put on blast for the whole community to tear them down. And that's what's going to happen to you. Please stop being a cheater. Nobody likes cheaters.
Right.
I don't want to be a
No! Don't do it! Listen, I want to move on to a scene that I'm really into, League of Legends, because the host Shox, look, she's been the face of the scene. She announced that she would be hosting the CSGO Blast Pro Series in Sao Paulo, Brazil. This is the first CSGO event where Shox will appear on the desk after she worked in the ESL, I think, event last year. So what do you think of Shox's moves? It's kind of a big deal for her.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I kind of saw this coming because we see a lot of, I mean, even you and I, like we cover different esports. Like we jump from scene to scene. We just like
get around.
Yeah, we get around. Like it's fun because we get to meet all these different players from different communities, and that's the thing. Like this replicates what happens in the sports world. Like there are sideline reporters for certain games, and they stay in their lane in that game. But I feel like with the talent pool that we have out there, especially with so many of these women in esports too, like we're seeing Frankie, of course, like Get Frank do it as well. She jumped from PUBG.
Frankie and Machine. They were in the League of Legends. They were at the LEC. So like we're seeing this crossover a lot.
Yeah,
right?
I love it. It makes me so happy. It makes me happy to see other communities embracing community members from other scenes. And also this means that Shox is bringing over her massive following from League of Legends. Like this babe is a total queen.
Wait. Do you think it crosses over? Like does it cross over though? People who are interested in League of Legends, would they really care about CSGO?
Honestly, why not? CSGO is one of the best esports ever created, and I think we can both agree on that. You love League of Legends, I know, but you can sit down and watch, like that major that just happened. Yes. That was so freaking entertaining, like from start to finish, so good. Their casters, their analysts, amazing. Their hosts, fantastic. Like you've seen Machine on the desk too. Just it's time. It's time for more of these personalities to jump on board. Why not?
Let me bring up an issue here for some people that might have with this crossover. It's like, so now that you're getting Shox to come host the CSGO desk, what about the hosts that work CSGO events and like they're the experts, but now they're kind of being pushed out for someone who doesn't probably know the game as well as they do? How is that fair in terms of merit? Now is it just for eyeballs, and is that a bad, you know, snowball that we're going down?
That's a very good point to bring up, right? Because of course you and I are just like love. This is amazing for the scenes and community. Yes, I get it. Like, but see, when I think of it, when I take it all in and look at the overall perspective of it, does that not mean that those people hating on the situation are not haters? Like, are they not kind of hating on someone's progress? Yeah. Or do you feel like they're really, because that just to me means that we're being territorial. And I don't want to be that way, especially as women. Like it's very important for us to be open with other women coming on board.
But
so,
it should be to the best person, right, who does the job.
Okay, well now I need to go back and look at Smix's tweets to see if she's welcoming to the scene. You know what I mean? Because like I always looked at her as the my producer's telling us to move on because we have to stop talking about this. I get it, Tyler. We're moving on in just 1 second. But I do want to kind of just extend the hand. I feel like everyone should do that. I'm sure Smix did the exact same thing with Frankie when she came on board in the CSGO scene. I just want more of it.
So
no hate, okay? Only love. Let's move on now. Tyler, I'm getting to it. Fortnite developer Epic Games revealed that it would be introducing an undo purchase button to the popular Battle Royale in the future. The button would let Fortnite players refund a purchase made in the last 5 minutes, no questions asked. So do you think this is a good move? I mean, have you ever made an in-game purchase that you wish that you could have had refunded?
Okay, first of all, I feel very attacked right now because you're looking at me. Okay, I love shopping. I love online shopping, and I don't know if it's a surprise to anyone, but I have never accidentally checked out or regretted a purchase. It makes me laugh that Fortnite, like, we're gonna upgrade the game, and the thing we're gonna implement is an undo button. Like, how often do you think people are, buying things impulsively?
Oh my God, all the time. That is my life. They're doing it for people like me. Seriously, they're doing it for people like me. I have no. You out of anybody know that I have things in my closet right now that I'm just like, I can't, this doesn't spark joy. Why did I buy it? And then I just like, that's why I have to find other people.
True story. Right. Marissa has come multiple times to me being like, I went shopping and I bought this and it doesn't make me happy anymore. Do you want it? Like, yeah, all the time.
This is what I'm saying. This option is for people like me, but also it is for parents who have children
who steal their credit cards and do a little shopping without their permission.
Who have been making purchases.
But the limit's only 5 minutes.
Yeah, you're right. Which I guess it's also like, okay, I feel like this is Epic being like, listen, we're doing this for you, but also maybe watch your kids.
That's true.
Maybe like make sure that your kids aren't doing something online without your permission. Maybe one of those. Like I don't. This is like Twitter. We really want Twitter to implement the edit button.
Yes.
This is like Fortnite starting it. Yeah.
This is like why we don't care about your button, but Twitter, get on this, please. We need this.
We need the edit function. No, I think this is something that I'm sure a lot of parents are calling for. I'm sure. I mean. Especially in Fortnite, when you're jumping in, you're making these purchases. Like some of the skins, like, did I really need that? Like, did I actually?
The answer is always no, guys. The answer is something you don't need, but you buy anyways.
No, because kids are getting bullied while they're playing. They are. They jump into a game. If they don't have the latest skin or the latest emote, they're getting bullied from other people online. I see it happen.
No, but we should stand up against it. We shouldn't give in.
Thank you, and that's why Epic is letting us kind of stand our ground for 5 minutes.
All right, let's move on. In other Fortnite news, several of the dance copyright lawsuits against Epic have been dismissed by the law firm behind them. This is because a new Supreme Court decision changed the law so that you can only file a copyright lawsuit if your copyright application has been accepted. The lawsuits will be refiled if and when the Copyright Office acts on the lawsuits. So, what do you think of the development? Do you think the dances should be copyrighted? That's what everyone's been wondering, like since the beginning of this, all of this.
Yeah, if I'm Soulja Boy or like Alfonso, is it Alfonso Ribeiro?
Yeah, Ribeiro.
Yeah, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Silver Spoons, man, Carlton. Yeah, if I'm those people, for sure, copyright my dance. But I have no love for Soulja Boy. Okay,
whoa! No. In school you didn't do that.
No, now Soulja Boy's canceled as of now. He's done a lot of insidious stuff, especially in the gaming community. He just wants to like have clout here. No more clout for Soulja Boy in this scene. I'm sorry, it's over for you. You canceled. But no, I don't. The thing is, you can't copyright dance moves.
Why not? And it's an art. Why not?
Okay, but then over the span of time, how do you know that this move wasn't invented, way back? Who knows who started this Carlton dance? Who knows who really started it? We don't. And it wasn't copyrighted at the time when Fresh Prince of Bel-Air was out there and everyone knew it was the Carlton dance. I'm sorry, it should have been copyrighted then.
Why do we let people copyright names?
That's totally different.
Why is it totally different? The name was probably used before in the past. Like, how do you copyright a name and not copyright a move that you made famous?
I guess that's a pretty good point.
What?
I guess it's pretty.
I just needed you without actually using the button.
I'm like, I guess she has a good point. This Miss Doan. Maybe I won't mute her after all.
I thought you were actually gonna just mute me just to like stop tagging.
No. I won't mute you if you're. It's true, But I guess just because that's the way the law goes, it's the way the cookie
Where is
crumbles.
the protection for the dancers and the artists? Marissa, you should understand of all people.
I have never made a dance move up that I
why do
care
you
to copyright. If I did, maybe I would have more, I don't know, maybe I'd have more anger about this whole thing. I don't really. I think it's really funny. I think this is the funny thing that we're all talking about. This is the funny thing that's in mainstream media.
Yeah.
Because we're seeing, I see it on my Twitter feed, like, this is breaking news. Alfonso Ribeiro can't copyright his dance move. Like, that's really funny.
Aw.
That's funny news.
Right, you
It's
should
funny news.
patronize them.
I know.
All right, we'll see how that all goes. But the first, now we have another clip that we want to show and react to. So the first clip here doesn't really make an argument that chess is exciting. So let's watch it.
Okay.
Or the chess moves on the board.
Do you recognize the player? Because I can't tell from the top of his head.
So we have Pro Chess League history here. This I'm gonna venture a guess that this young man is gonna hear from his manager about this afterwards. Because
Oh my. All right.
Yeah, he definitely heard from his manager. That was a Pro Chess League. That is a 50K prize pool. It wasn't just like casuals online playing chess. Like, no, there was a prize pool. Like, that was a real tournament.
Okay, but to be fair to him, I believe that match wasn't his match. It's not like he was playing and just like snooze while the other player.
It wasn't his match.
He was spectating another match. So like, you know, what else are you gonna do while you're just like downtime, right? He's tired. Chess is a very mentally exhausting game. Let him nap. Why are they gonna shame him like that? I actually feel bad for him. He looked like he was having a good sleep.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, okay, true, but is it not disrespectful to the other players? Like, was he cheering for a certain team member? Like, what? Maybe he should have been paying attention, maybe just to offer his support.
So you tell me you never dozed off while like I was doing the news, or like, you know what I mean?
Lisa, no,
you disappear for a while.
I pay attention to everything you do. Listen, it's just something that happens. We all have hard days. We need a snooze after a while. I get it. Like, I don't want to give this kid a hard time. I'm sure he already got I bet you his parents gave it to him. Like, for sure. For sure.
Sleeping?
Yes. Honestly, I see chess parents as being very regimented.
Chess parents?
Seriously. Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
I don't speak from experience. The second clip comes from Smash Summit, where they played a fun game of Smash Family Feud.
Nairo, I pose to you the same question. Name an excuse for being late to pools.
Top player privilege.
Top player privilege. Show me top player privilege. Oh, not today, son. Not today. All right. Boy.
Damn! That was like mic drop, bam, 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 all around.
Yeah, so, I mean, Nairo, listen, he's not wrong.
Top player privilege.
He's not wrong. Like, that answer wasn't on the board, but don't you think that is kind of a top player privilege?
Let's be real. Like, if, you know, a player is a big deal and they stroll in late, the organizer's gonna stop and, like, wait for the guy.
They're gonna
Which
stop
is
and wait.
horrible.
No, I know, but this is just, like, one of those things. Listen, like, A-list actors and movie stars, like, they run on their own schedule, and I feel like it's the same deal with professional athletes. It's the same deal
And
with
Marissa
these
Roberto,
boys.
she strolls in late every day.
Same deal.
Speaking of, this clip inspired me to actually create my very own.
What did you do?
Relax. Top 5 reasons for why we're always late at squad. So this is a true story. Okay, so I got number 5 is traffic.
Wait, hold on. This is Brody, though.
What?
This is straight up Brody.
I'm gonna pinpoint which one's Brody.
Okay,
You'll be able to tell which one's Brody.
Okay.
Number 4 is weather. We get a lot of crazy weather here sometimes, whether it's snow, rain. 3 is call time, question mark, the classic, oh, I didn't know we were starting at this time. When it's the same every day. Number 2, this is a good one, breakfast. I was busy getting breakfast. You know, we can't stop you from getting your hash brown or whatever. But number 1, this is completely Brody inspired. My Uber got lost.
He literally has to take an Uber, I swear to God, for 3 blocks from the train station to the studio, and his Uber gets lost. I mean, I feel like all of those are Brody, to be honest. It's like, especially breakfast.
Yeah. Well, the
traffic,
top 3.
I feel like it's everybody.
Yeah, that's fair. I feel like this is reasonable, right? We've all been there, but the other 3 are kind of all Brody. So
Straight up Brody salt. I love it. Listen, and now, Lisa, it's time for an extra special treat for both you and me, because we like the Twitters and we like sipping the tea and reading those profound thoughts pros sometimes drop.
All right, so let's get the first one out there, right?
Okay.
I got my cup of tea. So I'm not sure how this is really profound, to be honest.
Okay.
But Peruvian Call of Duty pro player Saints tweeted, "Me 10 minutes ago to me now." I'm not gonna say anything about this one.
Yeah.
Lisa?
I mean,
why'd you pick this one? She picked this one.
How do I explain this without my mother being upset with me?
Maybe we should move on.
Yeah, didn't think about this one. Listen, I just kind of love it because listen, it's just one of those things that it is this thing that would make your eyes red.
Hashtag
is legal.
Regret.
It's legal in some
hashtag
countries. Oh God, how do I? Okay, I'm just gonna move on. The next tweet is not from a pro gamer, but rather a DJ who a lot of pro gamers follow. Just indulge me here for a second, because Crate polls her audience with, would you rather have a dick as one of your arms or a dick as one of your legs? And you could respond with dick
arm all day?
Or dick arm all day? Dick arm all day, no.
Oh
Yeah, dick arm all day, or Dick like bitch. So, to which Call of Duty pro JCap says, I have so many questions that would impact my decision, but off the top of my head, I'm going leg. Do you agree?
This took a turn that I did not expect. And you know what? Do you have an answer for this question? Do you have an answer? Did you vote?
No, I didn't vote.
You should practice your right to vote, Marissa.
Because I just didn't feel like it's one of those polls that was very important. It doesn't really apply to my everyday. And I don't know what it's like, which is maybe why she was asking the question, because we don't know what it's like to have one, right? So would we want one as an arm or want one as a leg? I'm just gonna go with JCap. Leg.
Marissa, that's a mistake. Okay, listen.
What?
Listen, I know we have a mature rating and everything, but I'm going to say this without actually saying this.
Okay.
I think it's beneficial for us to have it as an arm. And I'm just going to drop it there. Think about it, guys. Go home. Think about it.
Lisa Doan!
What? Okay, you know what? Think about it. All right, let's move on to the last profound thought of the day, and it goes to the GM of E United, EU Burns. He tweeted, why are people throwing slices of cheese on their kids' face for social media likes? What? I didn't even know this was a thing that was happening, to be honest.
Oh my God, straight up, because I love that, because I thought that every single time I'd watch a new video of a parent throwing one of those Kraft cheese slices on their kid's face. Like the babies are usually really excited to see mommy or daddy coming at them with like a slice of cheese. It's so exciting, but then they just toss it on their kids' faces. Wait, what? For social media likes.
Okay. I haven't seen any of these clips, so let me ask you. Was it like a slap in the face, or is it like
it's like a drop. Like they kind of just like toss it on their face.
Why?
They're not like slapping them in the face with it, but it's like a drop on their face.
What are the reactions usually from the kid? Just like,
no, the video always cuts out because the kid just kind of like reacts and then just like is there. They don't know what to do because there's cheese in their face. And people are liking this stuff. Okay. And more and more people are doing it. People are doing it to the cats. Like, guys, I'm pretty sure this is abuse. Yeah. Can we say it's abuse? I don't know. It's like cheesy
abuse. Or is this
abuse.
just a really clever move by Kraft Singles to like promote their cheese?
Oh my God.
Calling it conspiracy.
This is like Illuminati type biz. Listen, we're moving on. Let's check out some user-generated content with crowd controlled. So Tetris 99 is really popular at the moment, but did you know that the pieces actually have names? According to user AJ Coed 1098 on Reddit, a Tetris manual for the original Nintendo system version of the game shows that these blocks do in fact have names. So let's take a look.
Look at that. Did you know?
I had no idea. L block orange Ricky, Reverse L blue Ricky, Cleveland Z block. Okay, Rhode Island Z block. I had no idea. The line block is Hero.
The line block is named Hero.
Which makes sense.
Which makes sense.
Yeah.
That's really cool. I've never heard anyone ever mention that they had names.
T-block, I mean, see, this is actually our own fault because we should cover. Actually, this is your fault. We should cover the Tetris scene more, the Tetris esports scene a little bit more.
Are you trolling me right now?
Maybe.
Don't troll me. Don't troll me! Are you serious?
I'm serious.
Make an argument right now for Tetris esports being covered on the show.
I'm sorry, did you not see the Tetris championships? Did you not see the
Stop stop it. I will not hear any of that. Listen, I get it. I get it, there's a fan base, but esports really? Not there yet. But I know a lot of people are gonna be upset at me. Listen, I actually grew up playing Tetris, so like, I love the game, but let's move on. Let's move on. All right, so this next post is hot fire because it's calling out professional Overwatch team at the Atlanta Reign. So this was from Caster Leg Day, and he noticed that the logo for the Atlanta Reign kind of looked familiar. Let's see it. So you see there, it's McMaster Esports actually. They have a logo, and then the Atlanta Reign one. Do you see? You see?
Okay,
Marissa can talk now, right?
Dance's face. Thank you so much for unleashing me. Yeah, it is very similar. I mean, I guess they can't get in trouble for any kind of copyright because the wings go up in a different way.
We're talking about copyright again?
That's right. The wings go up in a different way. It's a little more stoic, the Atlanta Reign bird. But the thing is, like, I'm pretty sure that the people behind Overwatch League, and especially the people doing the logos, because there's a whole team of people behind it, I'm certain that they've researched and they've put in the images into Google just to make sure there's no similarities or no way they're copying something else.
You'd be surprised. You would be surprised how negligent some people are. They're not going to search up McMaster Esports. It probably slipped through the cracks. But like, this is unfair to McMaster.
No, I feel like this is common knowledge. If you're making some kind of logo, you take that logo that you made, slip it into Google to make sure there's no other images that relate. Like, is this not common knowledge?
No, of course, but that logo is like identical. Like, they barely tried to change it. It was the same color, same border. Like,
okay, listen, I'm sorry to McMaster.
Yeah, that's right.
Esports.
I don't even go there, but I'm just
yeah, like okay, listen, Lisa is now your champion. You can add her on Twitter. What is it? At Lisa Doan. At the Lisa Doan on Twitter. She will be your new mascot.
I'll come speak at the event.
It's time for our last post, and let's end it on a peaceful one. Apex Legends is the game at the moment. It's what all the cool kids are playing, I mean. So let's see what a little DIY does for us. Posted by Osmosis. He said his wife handcrafted this realistic model of a peacekeeper. Get ready to be impressed. Look at this.
Look at that. That's exactly the same.
Holy.
That's really cool.
His wife did this?
Yeah, like.
Okay, let's see what the original looks like just for comparison's sake.
Oh my God.
Dang.
That was like on point. I almost couldn't tell.
I know, honestly, I'm just very impressed by crafts. Okay, now this is the second day in a row that we've had crafts on this show, and it's only day 2 of the show. Running theme, I think that we should discuss crafts every single day. Why not?
More crafts?
Yeah, more crafts. I wanna do craft time.
Listen, okay, you guys don't know, but there's every single day she keeps talking about doing cosplay, doing crafts, wearing her wig. She literally bought like 5 wigs in the past month.
Okay. This is lies. Right, I'm gonna tell you, Lisa Doan is lying to all of you and she can't say anything about it. I bought a couple wigs, yeah, on Amazon because listen, it's Pokemon's fault. She tweeted, "You like my hair, gee thanks, just bought it," as per an Ariana Grande song. And it was an awesome blonde wig. And I'm like, you know what? I wanna buy a wig too. I wanna be just like her. Top tier influencer, okay? So I got one, looked fly AF, and so I decided to get another one, and now she's coming at me like I always have wigs. I always talk about wigs.
I'm gonna meet her now so I can cut you up.
Damn it!
She's trying to save her. Look, there's nothing wrong with cosplay and wigs, okay?
Thank you.
You look fabulous.
I know.
I'm just saying. She's got some weird something.
No, it's not. Listen, on tomorrow's episode, we will discuss cosplay in detail. No, Brody should be back tomorrow, I believe, unless he's too scared to come back and deal with all of this. But that is it for Unmuted for today. Thank you so much for joining me at the desk, Lisa Doan. Make sure to hit us up on all the socials at Squad State. I will see you next time.
I'm not surprised by the amount of cheaters there are in Apex Legends. I mean, hey, I was losing for a really long time, still struggling to get some wins, so it must have been the cheaters out there, obviously. And that's probably why Lisa is not upset about this story. She was one of them. That's just my take on it. But let me know what you guys think about this whole Apex cheaters thing on our socials at Squad State. Were you a cheater? I want to know. Let me know. All right, so we're gonna get to esports in 30 in a minute, where AJ and Ron will be breaking down the OWL weeks 1 to 3 and giving us a preview of week 4. But first, in case you missed it, here's a refresher on the news. The developer developer behind Pokemon Go unveiled what their newest augmented reality game will be. And let me tell you, it's magical. No, seriously, it's literally magical. Niantic pulled the curtain off of Harry Potter's Wizards Unite this week, and while it has some similarities to Pokemon Go, it's got plenty to set it apart. The story for the game is as follows. You're a wizard or witch in the Harry Potter world who is an agent of the Statue of Secrecy Task Force. Your job is to go around the world and capture magical items and creatures called foundables before muggles see them. What makes Wizards Unite different is the multiplayer. Unlike Pokemon Go, all multiplayer in Wizards Unite will be cooperative. Players can tackle fortresses, which are real-time multiplayer battles that test your might against Dementors and other Harry Potter villains. And depending on which class you choose when you create your character, you'll earn bonuses in battle as well. Wizards Unite definitely doesn't feel like a knockoff of Pokemon Go. You can sign up for a beta on Android now, though there's no word on whether iOS users will be able to gain access. Not all is well at Valve. The developer behind Dota and Artifact has laid off 13 employees and several contractors, including Artifact and Magic the Gathering creator Richard Garfield. Garfield confirmed the news in an email to Artifact fan site Artibuff, saying that he wasn't surprised by the decision since the game had a rocky launch. Artifact launched in November, and while it attracted a lot of players in its debut, it is now down to roughly 500 players a week. The game itself hasn't been updated since January 28th, and the official Artifact Twitter hasn't tweeted anything since December. Valve hasn't said anything about the future of Artifact, but with the departure of Garfield, its future isn't looking particularly bright. Netflix is doubling down on video game adaptations with a brand new series. The streaming giant announced on Monday that it will be developing a new anime series based on Capcom's Dragon's Dogma. The action RPG was first released in 2012 and was later ported to current generation consoles under the name Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen. The game follows the player character hunting down a dragon that took their heart, defeating plenty of monsters along the way. The animation adaptation will be developed by Sublimation with no release date set. Netflix has previously adapted Konami's Castlevania as an animated series, which is widely regarded as one of the best video game adaptations to date. Here's hoping that Dragon's Dogma receives a similar treatment.
Yes, my friends, we are here. It is Esports in 30 today. It's all about owls. And I mean Overwatch League. As we take a deep dive into Stage 1 so far, I'm your host, Ajay Fry. With me today is the coach of UC Irvine's Overwatch team, Ronald Renanthera. Lee, welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you. I mean, you know what? Like, the best part about being here is just sitting on the couch with my favorite Overwatch personality.
Yeah, I'm the biggest Overwatch personality out there.
I mean, you know, like maybe not as high as me or anything, but it's okay. That's why I'm the expert here,
exactly.
And you're the audience surrogate.
Yes, I am trapped in platinum low elo hell, yeah. And I have a lot to learn from this man, as we all do. Stage 1 of Overwatch League is well underway, so we've got some catching up to do. Ron will help us through it. We're going to start by looking back on the first 3 weeks of the season before breaking down this past week's games and everything that comes with it. To get us all jazzed up, here are some of the best plays from the first 3 weeks.
Crucial. I was going to say, they need someone to get that grab. Oh, Bumper going in. Going for the Primal Rage really aggressively, trying to get behind it. He gets stunned. There's the shield bash. There's the kill. Got too deep. A little bit too quick. The grab not working out. Oh, Ganu! What is this?
What are they doing right now?
That is interesting.
That is a really...
Can you get over the roof there?
Oh my.
Oh my, what a play! What a grab! Tosses in the grab. They're going to make it work. And Cruz taken out by the ensuing self-destruct. Atlanta Rain breaking through that in the most stylish way I've ever seen for those EMPs. Lixer, however, going to find the first kill. NB going to be taken down now. Roki! We saw this from him at the World Cup in Incheon. This man is out of control. Gets another shot there on the aid. Under a little bit of fire. But no! He gets him! Mid-sleep dart. He didn't even hit the ground yet.
It's happening.
Could be it. The second ticks. Getting ready to come through. Kellick's gonna be eliminated. Princeton is out from Aim God, but it's gonna expire. They will be able to finish him off.
There you go.
They're gonna get in. Just a couple more percent to go. Let them have it, Boston. Axiom, top of the primal range, but it does not matter. Ladies and gentlemen, history has been made.
Elsa has had really good game thus far.
Right over the top. Oh, and there's the mines too. Land right into him, comboed up with the barrage. Beautiful plays. That is a huge kill for the Philadelphia Fusion. Everybody to go down. Perfect with the headshot. Perfect with the follow-up. Finally getting to show some skill here. That's what it's all about. Answering Shatter. Manages to find Sominsu into the front. The Transcendent's going to be coming down for Twilight, but Sinatra still holding onto the grab. Answering grab coming through from Vancouver. Locks him in the sound barrier. Sound. It's a huge bomb coming in from Jono. Oh my God. Miguel. He does it again.
It was 2 amazing Diva Bombs from the Titans in that highlight reel there.
Yeah, and that's definitely not easy to coordinate all the time either. And he got 2 in that, yeah, it was amazing.
Especially in pro play, for sure. But we're not going to talk Titans just yet. They're one of the expansion teams we're going to get to eventually. We got to start with some big news that just broke last night as we were prepping for the show. Yeah. LA Valiant saying, good night, Moon. Good night, go to sleep. You're no longer with our team, letting go their head coach. This is big, but maybe not unexpected given their track record of not 7-0, but 0-7 so far.
Yeah, and they were a playoff contender last season too. They're doing really well, right? It seems odd, I think, to most. You know, they had such an odd season this time, but they were so successful. But you know, if we look at what happened in the preseason, they didn't really pick up many players, right? The only new face would be Izayaki, but he's picked up last season. He just wasn't ready to play yet so late. And you know, they lost Coach Damon, who went to the Paris Eternal, and Goonba, who went to Boston Uprising. So that makes, with Moon out, the third coach kind of removed from their team at this point.
But there's been a lot of outcry over the fact that they weren't running one of their best players, Custa.
Yeah.
So was this just a reaction, like, okay, this coach doesn't know what he's doing? And I mean, even his explanation for why he wasn't running Custa was that Custa's too smart for the rest of the team?
Yeah, it was something along the lines of, you know, he's calling for plays that are too complex, you know, and the rest of the players can't keep up. But that seems like a weird thing to say. Wouldn't as a coach you want kind of your most intelligent player there leading the team?
Yeah.
It sounds to me like there might be some mistranslation here, or maybe some bad PR. But either way, Moon's out the picture, and now they're stuck with Packing 10 as their interim coach. So you know, going into stage 2, brand new meta and stuff happening, I don't think things are looking too hot for the Valiant.
Well, let's move on to another LA-based team, the Gladiators. They're doing better, but not as well as everyone was kind of expecting for the Gladiators, sitting at 3-4 so far. What's going on with the Gladiators these days?
So they started weeks 1 through 3 with only 1 win. So at that time it was 1-3, and between both LA teams, we only had 1 win across both of them.
Right.
Again, both of these guys are playoff contenders. Both looked really, really strong. Coming off a veteran season, they should be more cohesive and stuff. But Gladiators, I think, have a bit more of an excuse, right? Bishu, who is their flex temp player, he's also the team's translator, speaking both Korean and English.
Yeah.
He was out because he had colitis. So poor guy, awfully sick. And now that he's better, it's still kind of late in stage 1. He didn't have practice, so they couldn't throw him in there.
Yeah.
Which means they were playing, you know, the 3-3 meta, where you play triple tank and triple support with your new Korean main tech and flex tanks in Roar and Void. And they definitely seems lost at times. You know, Roar is being hung out to dry. It seems like there was a lot of disconnect and disjunct, and they weren't really able to come together. But you know, things are looking up. I think now they're at 3-4, if I remember correctly. So they are doing better, and I think that's, you know, what happens when you start these new guys. They are just getting their feet wet and kind of get warmer and warmer and more comfortable with the rest of the guys. So hopefully they will not be like the Valiant and won't do as bad next stage.
Yeah.
Like, I want to see this uptrend continue.
Does it seem like they have the shot at getting into stage 1 playoffs at this point? I mean, at 3-4, they got another game coming up.
Yeah, I think it's doable. I certainly don't want to count the Gladiators out. I think we just have to wait and see for these guys. Like, I don't want to count them out because, again, they were so good. I don't want to harp on it too much, but it seems odd that players that made it all the way to the finals, more or less, semifinals, are having such a hard time just kind of in a meta where cohesion is a thing. They've been together for so long.
But that's happening to all the teams who were in the finals last season, it seems.
Not all of them.
Not all of them, but the London Spitfire are also kind of struggling this season. Some ups and downs. They're currently sitting at 3-3. What's going on with our former champions now?
I mean, you know, these guys were always kind of shaky. I mean, a lot of people say London is amazing, you know, they're so good, that's why they won. But if we look at their history, they've never been incredibly dominant. They've always been kind of, we get the job done.
They get their wins when they need them.
When they need them, exactly, which is not something another team can say. But yeah, like when they play Dive, they have such a good DPS duo, and Prophet and Birdring, you know, they're hailed as some of the best in the league. And now they're in a tank meta where cohesion is the kind of the goal, and they can't thrive off of that really aggressive chaos that they can create on these DPS heroes. And we say that, sure, you know, 3-3 is not bad, but these guys are the champions after all. 3-3 isn't what you're aiming for. You wouldn't be happy with that as reigning champions.
But there's still time in the rest of the season for all these, you know, current standings to
correct
themselves.
Less games overall, though. Only 28. So, you know, 3-3 now. Let's say they win. They go 4-3. It's doable, but you're definitely not going to be, I think, having an easy track forward.
Yeah, they haven't started off on the right foot. But one team that has started off on the right foot and has kept going on that same footing, 7-0, the New York Excelsior. This team is just incredibly dominant.
So good. They're so good.
So far ahead, along with, of course, the Vancouver Titans. We'll talk about them a little bit later when we get into the expansion teams. But yeah, so far doing amazing. Nene on DPS, Flower also on DPS. These are some standout players. What can you tell me about this team, and why are they dominating so much so far?
So New York, you know, they've lost Wizard Hyung as their coach, one of their assistant coaches, their analysts. So he's gone. He's joined the Washington Justice, but you know, it doesn't seem like trimming the fat has hurt them too bad. They still have their all-star roster, and you know, I'm sure they were really, really heartbroken after just, you know, losing in the playoffs match last season and not playing in their home city of New York. You know, not playing in the Barclays Center. These guys must have cried for a long time. You know, must have had a lot of loss of confidence, but it doesn't seem...
Don't tweet that, by the way, Ron Lee. These guys must have cried for a long time.
Don't take this out of context.
Don't anyone get that out to the New York Excelsior right now
I love
on
the
Twitter.
New York. I need them to like me back. They were probably my favorite team in season 1 because you know, they're so good. The branding's nice, so sleek. You know, the nice streetwear, right? But you know, outside of their aesthetic, their performances have been amazing. These guys play 3-3. And they weren't known as a 3-3 team either. They were a good dive team, good aggression, right? They have Pine and Widow and stuff like that. But they're so cohesive. They're incredibly cohesive. Like, I'm sure they didn't make it, you know, all the way to finals last season. But it's amazing to watch them because it seems like everything they're doing, they're totally on the same page, same mind and body.
Even when they lose, they lose together. They all
reset quickly. You know, they have a game plan. It seems like their coach has been really good to them. They're on the same page, and it seems like really close, not just as teammates, but probably as friends, because you don't get that sort of trust just from, you know, players you're doing business with. They probably have like a really close connection.
Well, a team that has definitely got a closer connection now that they've got a win under their belts, moving from the best team in the league to the team that has just had the worst struggle in not just esports, but all of sports ever. Going 0-42, but finally getting that win. We saw it there in the highlight reel, the Shanghai Dragons. What are your thoughts on this team so far? It's nice to see the underdog get the big win like that.
The Under Dragons at this point. Might as well just change the whole saying. Yeah, I mean, it was really hard not to cheer for the Dragons, right? Now that they got the first win, I think they might have lost a few more fans, but it was a beautiful moment. You know, Gamsu, who have just come from Boston, right? He played that series with them, beat Boston, get the first win. I know that must have been great for him. And then Gregory, you know, shed those tears of joy, and everyone captured those on their phones in the arena, and it was just, everyone was lighting up Twitter saying, "Where were you? Were you there? I was there." You know, it was a beautiful moment, but. You know, first win is great and all, but they got to keep it going, right? I think at this point they're 3-4. I think they're done with the season. But you know,
they're done with the stage. The season's
not the season. You're right. The stage. I apologize. But 3-4. You know, for a team that completely revamped the roster, they're supposed to be looking really, really strong. Again. 3-4, it seems like a lot of teams are kind of struggling to break into that upper echelon. We have so many teams in the middle pack.
And another team that everyone was expecting would do so well last season, would expect them to be doing even better this season, having had that experience under their belts, but they're still in that mid-range right now along with so many others. Seoul Dynasty, why are they still in this spot? Why can't they break out of it given all the talent they got on their team?
Well, you know, I guess the royal family has to go, like this monarchy of Korean excellence, right? You know, I say that, but New York and Vancouver are all Koreans, and they're doing great. So it's not where they're from that's a problem. And you know, all on paper, all these players look great. They don't look, you know, as washed up as you know some might think. They've recently picked up some new players as well, so I think they're still working hard on fixing their issues. But you had an entire preseason to do that. I mean, at this point, cutting a few of your coaches off, having a more unified direction should have really helped. They've always had the talent, just kind of missing the cohesion. But they had, you know, a couple months to work this out. This seems like they had everything ready. People are hyping up Seoul again coming in. You're like, okay, this is their time. And another 3-3 team. It just seems like, you know, them and London probably have a share of similar issues. And it's unfortunate, but I can't say I'm too disappointed because, you know, at the end of the day, right, I'm kind of sick of seeing the Koreans like win at every single esport. I'm waiting, you know,
you want to spread the victory around.
Yeah, I mean, New York, I know they're all Korean, but at least we can say they're New York. You know, I can say, hey, they represent a North American city. That's good enough, maybe. Yeah.
Well, one of the teams we got to talk about, all Korean, but dominating and representing Canada, the expansion teams. Who saw this coming? I guess we kind of did see Vancouver.
A lot of people
doing as well as they are, given the history of this team. Runaway. Break it down for us, for anyone who isn't familiar with this team's rich history in Overwatch.
So Runaway, they wore beautiful pink and blue sweaters. You know, they were amazingly kind of put together and have this rich history where they're built by this player named Runner. He used to be a player, now he's, I think, their general manager or something. But they had every single championship belt in Korean contenders. They won Season 1 and Season 2, and these are the guys that went on to build or join, I think, Vancouver, you know, Vancouver Titans. And even then, after the original gang had left, their kind of successors on the new Runaway team won Season 3. So they had a winning tradition. Coming to Overwatch League, people were like, well, you know, contenders is one thing, but now you're playing in the big leagues. How will you do? Will they be middle of the pack Koreans? Will they be top of the table?
Yeah.
I think it's pretty evident where they stand right now.
Yeah, they are dominating. Don't have quite the same record as New York Excelsior, but they also haven't played as many games.
Yes.
So we got one more to look forward to in the 5th week of this first stage. We got to talk about Toronto Defiant as well, sitting at 5-2 in 3rd place, but the differential between 2nd and 3rd with the map differential is pretty expansive. Yeah. But Toronto Defiant defying the expectations for this team. They were expected to be kind of maybe mid-tier at best if they played well, and now they're in 3rd. They've clinched that playoff spot. Why have they been able to synergize and play the way that they have? Is it just the matchups that they've been up against, or is it something else?
So I definitely don't think you can blame the matchups. A lot of the teams right now, outside of the very, very top and the very, very bottom, are pretty damn close. They've had to fight tooth and nail in every single game. They've been able to inch them all out. I think that's a testament to their coach's, his name is Bishop, his vision of, you know, coachability. He really came in, picked up all these players from Korean contenders that a lot of people, I think, underrated. You know, these guys have, outside of Roki, none of the players on that team have ever won a championship. So people were like, why are you picking up, you know, these guys? They've shown that they're mediocre. They can't win.
Right.
But Bishop was looking past that. He said, okay, you know what? I want guys that'll listen to me. They'll kind of share my vision, my direction, and we'll work hard. We'll build this synergy, and we'll bridge that gap. So in a way, I think they're kind of like Boston on the same principle of coachability, but they definitely seem like they get along better. And they've definitely shown that they can play GOATs, you know, past just a textbook level. At this point, they're past just learning the fundamentals. They're working on polishing, and that's why I think they're just a little bit ahead of the rest of the teams right now. Not quite near Vancouver or New York, but there's like Tier 1, there's like Tier 1.5 with Toronto solely in it, and then the rest.
Yeah. Well, sitting in the rest is another expansion team, Atlanta Reign. Certainly a team with lots of fandom and support, some big star players on the team. What can you tell us about Atlanta Reign, and are we going to expect them to be doing better now that they're synergizing, or is there still some trouble and uncertainty there?
So I feel a certain way about Atlanta. A lot of people do. You know, they're the most popular team right now. On Twitch, they have the most bit count, largely because of their star player, Defiant. Defiant, for those who do not know, he's their DPS player. He's famed for playing Hitscan. He's amazing on McCree and Soldier and Tracer, but he's really controversial because, you know, he has a reputation.
He's done some things.
Yeah, so he threw a few competitive games, got banned for a competitive season, wasn't allowed to participate in OWL, would stream and like watch anime and stuff on the side monitor, and play troll picks like Torbjorn, not communicate, stuff like that. He had this whole throw for Defiant movement.
Understand how you continue to have an esports career after you throw a pro
You just
game.
have to be that good.
Yeah,
you have to be that good. Because, people were like, we don't think he can necessarily do this. Is he washed up? He's taken a long break, but
he's pulled himself together.
He really has.
Performing, playing,
very, very well.
Holding himself to a professional attitude as of late. We'll have to see if that ever changes.
But he's not the only guy on Atlanta that has quite the personality. They all do. Like Dogman, who middle of the match would take off his headset and scream into the audience that his opponents are feeding. That's really cool. On one hand, I like seeing the players be true to themselves and genuine and have a personality, but on the other hand, is that necessarily sportsmanlike? I don't know. I'm on the fence. But
I think inherently within esports, within all sports, there's some trash talking that goes on.
You love them or you hate them.
Yeah.
It's either Pogman or dog something else.
All right, let's talk about Washington Justice not doing well, an expansion team that I guess is living up to their low expectations. 0-5, obviously trying to play some weird money ball there, but not doing so well so far.
Yeah, so Wizard Hyung, who was on Washington Justice, the self-proclaimed typical genius, he says, I'm so smart, I have these analytics, I can foresee the future, I'm going to make this team with all these unknown players, bring it together, and you'll see how good they are.
Right.
His core piece was bringing Giannis from the New York Excelsior with him. So they started off with some good pieces, but it looks like, I don't know what happened with management or something. Maybe they ran out of budget, but they picked up a lot of guys that didn't really pass the eye test. Coming together, no one really had high expectations for them. People thought they weren't, Overwatch League caliber players necessarily, and I think the general public is more or less correct at this point, seeing as they went 0-5 and have some rough matches ahead too. Don't think they're probably going to leave this stage with the win, unfortunately.
Well, we need to move forward. We got to talk some teams from China now. Hangzhou Spark, 3-4. Love the branding. Huge fan support for these guys. They're missing one of their star players as well. So are we expecting them to turn things around as we move forward into the season?
So, I think at this point they're finished with their games, right? They're 3-4, if I recall correctly. So, rest in peace, Spark. They're not going to get it done. But, rumor on the street was like when these guys were scrimming, when they had Saucin in, the guy they were missing, he was crazy. With them together, they were saying we haven't seen a team, play this well and kind of be this surprising since Boston Uprising of season 1. So I was coming into the season really excited. I love the branding. I love the anime throughout, kind of aesthetic and stuff, and their posters and their socials. They're also cute. And they did well. They did okay for, I think, a expansion team coming in without one of their star players. I think 3-4 very easily could have been 5-2. A lot of the games are really, really close. So once he eventually gets here, I think next stage we'll see them at full power, because if, really underpowered right now is still 3-4, they're going to be very scary when they're at max capacity.
Yeah, it's interesting how many teams have been missing their star players or key players.
Turns out it's really hard to get to America nowadays.
I don't know what's going on down there.
Definitely.
We're going to wrap up talking about perhaps the most fun team to watch for the fact that they are just not going in on this meta at all, the Chengdu Hunters. Great branding there as well. Gotta love the pandas. Why is their play style so different from everyone else? And is it like their coach just demanding them that they stick with this DPS heavy format, or what are your thoughts here?
Partly. I mean, Coach Ray, he's very intelligent. He coached the Chinese team for the Overwatch World Cup last year, and we saw China pretty underrated as a region going into that, but did spectacularly well going into finals and playing South Korea. Sure, they got wiped, but we saw that China had the talent, right? Last year, everyone was making fun of China as a region because of Shanghai's abysmal run.
Right.
But Chengdu, they came in, again, pretty underrated coming in. They were like second last beside Washington, but they're playing very well and not playing the same things everyone else is playing.
Right.
They've are really big fan favorites because they refuse to play 3-3. They just play, last week they did, but all the other weeks they were playing like triple DPS, quadruple DPS, and Ameng, who's their ball player, he, I think, plays Orisa and Hammond mainly, and their actual main tank, again, stuck outside the country because of visas. He's their Reinhardt and Winston player, but
Yeah.
without him in, people were like, there's no way these guys are going to get any wins at all. But lo and behold, 2 wins, taking Vancouver almost all the way in a 5-game series with radical strats and stuff like that. Like, how can you not cheer for the Chengdu Hunters?
Yeah, it's super fun to watch them play. All right, we've managed to get all caught up with where we are at with OWL after 3 weeks of play. On the other side of these highlights, we're going to take a deeper dive into week 4.
Taking Jag, goes into tank form. That's right, he's nano boosted. He's got to get the damage done. That shield does not last long. Stellar, whoa, big Roki out of the air. It's Duck Hunt. Has a Dragon Blade out, but can't find any kills. Just the one with the dash. Medlayer and Masa down as well. Oh, and Decay, the follow-up kills after the ultimate. That is gonna be the trick.
And the Titans are back on the point. The Hunters have to act now. They bring Late Young back with V in his mech in just a moment. Oh, just Amor is brought to a complete stop with the EMP. That's going to yield some results. And Chengdu gets himself 3. That's what it looks like to get worked in the neutral by an absolute giga chat.
Just free firing going in with that self-destruct. Can they get rid of the Rhine shield? There's the charge. They've done it. That's a 4K.
Just wait for Elsa to head across. He can just grab this one. There it is. Grab on the payload. And yeah, self-destruct, follow it up. That was the shot. It's beautiful.
Look at this flank from Chengdu too. Gross.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
And the whole team,
another one.
The whole team just really knows how to play around.
What? Oh, this is gonna hurt. There it is. Okay, not as bad as it could have been. And Bumper's gonna be a little bit out of position, but still the Titans are able to turn this around. They were ready to pounce. Gamsu gets discorded, but the sound barrier is going to make him nice and durable. And now it's going to be a transcendence here as the Spitfire try and push back. But Nuss is charged, pinned up against the wall. The transcendence from Bedosian doesn't have to keep him alive. Both brigades are traded out here. 85% on the clock for the Shanghai Dragons. And the Spitfire are in disarray.
And with the way this fight's going, with players still lingering around here for London, this very well may be the last fight. There's a big grab there that comes in from DM. You just have Nuss being able to get on the point.
Already a couple players and just the one left. Nuss was the last chance for the Spitfire. There's no way to getting to this point. A celebratory earth shatter from Gamsu. And in map 5, the Dragons take it.
So we talked about Shanghai's big win earlier, but that was earlier in the season. That big win right there against London was from this past week. Yeah, big upset in the final moments. An exciting conclusion to that game.
Yeah, really, because like if you were watching that series, it would be London full holding Shanghai on a map, and then Shanghai going to the next one full holding London on a map. It was really one-sided on a map-by-map basis, so it was really, really satisfying, I think, to go to Game 5, 99-99, down to the wire, and Gamsu just swinging away at them and kind of being like, okay, well, I'm the man, I'm done with this.
And it's great to see Shanghai take down last season's champions as
well. As like, the 0-40 team, we're beating the reigning champions, that's awesome.
They've really turned things around there. Another amazing match from this past week was Vancouver versus Chengdu Hunters. Just a lot of interesting play styles. Obviously, Ameng in there, mixing things up, playing an amazing Ryan. Why was it such a standout match for you?
Well, I mean, Vancouver over the course of the season have looked really dominant. They haven't really been rattled in the same way as they were in this game, where they were kind of caught off guard by Chengdu. They were playing triple hit scan at one point. They're whipping out the far a lot. Jinmu doing a lot of work and playing off of I think Ameng's pressure and ball. And just when Vancouver thought okay, we're starting to get a hang of this whole like DPS thing, we could kind of adapt on the fly. They ran into like the most surprising standout performance by Ameng on Reinhardt. He's not a Reinhardt player, but he really showed it to Bumper, who a lot of people are saying, man, this guy's the best Reinhardt we've ever seen. Ameng just really bringing it to him, showing like, okay, you think you have a battering ram? Well, I have, what's bigger than a battering ram?
I don't know, a rocket ship?
Yeah, he has a rocket ship of a hammer. I mean, there are rockets in the back of that thing, so he was like, full force just pounding through him. It was crazy.
Another interesting match, not for the same reasons, but Philadelphia versus LA Valiant. Philly, a team that like should be doing much better, but seems to consistently bring themselves down to the level of the team that they are competing against.
Yeah, I think are they 4-2? I'm not entirely sure. But
Philadelphia
they do play.
Not on my list.
Unfortunately. But okay, we do know that they're doing well. I believe they're 4-2 with Dallas.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, someone in the comments. But the thing about Philly is they should not be giving these teams at the bottom of the table a chance at all. They always come into these games, and the running gag is they always go to Game 5. Well, I mean, you can say that it's kind of like tongue-in-cheek when they're playing teams in the middle of the standings, but Valiant, who are super, super uncoordinated, going 0-7, I don't think Philadelphia Fusion had any good reason to go to a Game 5. They coming into this last week, if they want to make playoffs, they cannot not get complacent.
Well, let's look ahead. Actually, before we do that, let's look back at our player of the week. We were just talking about him, A-Mang.
Yeah, this guy is a radical ball. He's always in the right place at the right time, always dragging the enemy's attention, always staying alive as long as he can, creating that pressure and really giving his team the space and the time to really get those picks with Pharah and Tracer and Sombra and things like that. I mean, everyone's playing GOATs at this point, and it's just so refreshing to see anything but that, like to the point where people will actively boo in the Overwatch stadium when they see people on TPS come back to spawn and switch back to tanks. So Chengdu really saying, okay, we're committed to this. You know, we're gonna take it to them, and A-Mang has everyone cheering. Then bringing out that Ryan against Vancouver again, against Bumper of all people, and really showing him like what's how to play that hero. Sure, they lost in the end, but going all the way to the wire with Vancouver is something to praise, and that's why A-Mang is my player of the week. He's fun to watch, he's really good, and I think in stage 2, the Chengdu Hunters will be quite scary.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's look more ahead to the next stage, or I should say, our final week of the first stage. Week 5, London versus Seoul. This is going to be an important match, obviously for London. What's on the line here?
So both these teams are 3-3.
Yeah.
Both full Korean rosters with a lot of pride on the lines. I think both of them had really shaky starts, and this is do or die for both of them. They want them, like London especially. They have expectations, and Seoul, they really want this redemption story and a chance to kind of say like, at least we make it through playoffs, maybe we can play through there and kind of redeem ourselves a little bit. I'm not excited to see this game. I know both teams should be good, but they haven't been playing well.
Right.
I want to see them both show up and have some good Overwatch for everyone to spectate.
Well, what about Boston versus Dallas and Philadelphia versus Paris? These are similar matches.
Yes. Again, Dallas and Philly, I believe, are both 4-2, which means they're in good standing to make it to playoffs here. If they win their games, realistically, they're in. No ifs or buts.
Yeah.
But their matches aren't guaranteed. I think if they come to play, things will do well. Again, both teams are on an upward trajectory. So hopefully they play well, they win, and we won't have any odd tiebreakers. We have to depend on map score, because that's always a little lame. Yeah.
Well, before we wrap things up, we do have a fan question. This is from Kyle Sisson on Twitter. He says, which team's performance has been the most surprising in stage 1? Positive or negative?
You have an opinion? You wanna take this first?
Oh man, I mean, honestly, being a Defiant fan, like my expectations were like, I'm gonna root for this team because we're from Toronto.
Yeah, total homer over here.
Yeah. But then they've surprised us. They're third in the league. You wouldn't expect that from a new expansion team, but I think Bishop's been doing a great job coaching the team. Yeah. Obviously, having Neko return to the lineup now has helped a lot as well.
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
Yeah, that's my take on it. What about you, Ron?
I think Vancouver. I think Vancouver's super awesome. I think actually if Vancouver play well and they get more kind of experience to Overwatch League conditions instead of kind of like contenders conditions, they right now are looking more dominant than New York was in their first stage. And if this trend continues, I really do think they could be potentially our next champions.
That would be amazing to see.
I know. I mean, I'm from Toronto, but they're Canadian too, so.
Yeah. I mean, Toronto.
So you picked one Canadian team, I picked the other. We got to cover.
We're sending love across our fine country here. And on that note, that is all the time that we have for you today. But thank you so much for tuning in. Ron and I will be back next week with a special guest to break down the final week of the first stage. And tomorrow, right here on this very channel, Brody and a few friends will be breaking down the Smash Ultimate Summit. You don't want to miss that. Be sure to check out all of our new socials at Squad State on Instagram, Twitter, and of course, right here on the Twitch to send you off. We're gonna go to some of that nonsense from the green room gaming space.
You gotta go. You're so far away.
On the camera. I think we're just Rod's playing as well, like.
Wait, my head is in my head.
If you ever wondered what someone hitting the mic says, there you go. Voices here to bring you that content. Bye bye. Anytime. A Way Out is really good game, but there's a lot of naked people, like a lot of naked people. I don't know if I'm here for it or if it's too much for me, but I guess that's jail. I've never been, so I wouldn't know. Remember, we have gameplay every day, Monday to Friday, starting at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, and you never know who is going to drop by and say hello, so you want to stay tuned for that. Also, quick shout out to Red Bull for fueling our team while they're in there. Now, tomorrow at 8 p.m. right here, we have more Unmuted news and a look at the PT mods in Mod Stars, and Jerface will be stopping by to give us all the latest from the FGC. Till then, you can check us out on all of our socials at Squad State. From Squad, I'm Camille. See you later.